Welcome to Double Dose of Raw Talk Podcast, your weekly dose of many discussions and opinions, a show where we get comfortable being uncomfortable. And remember, no topic is off limits. Now let's talk about it.
That sounds good?
That sounds really good. That sounds good. Yeah, not the DJ.
Let me.
Y'all, I haven't been on this microphone in a little bit.
And action.
Yeah, I'm on and on. I needed to take a second. All right, guys. Welcome back to another week and another episode on Double Dose of Raw Talk Podcast. I am your host, Misty. I had to put a lot of S's in here and make it a little sensual, because I heard people be like listening to my shit. And they be commentary and whatnot, so whatever. But we're back with a guest, and I'm super excited for this guest, a returning guest. I'm like cheesing. I love I love talking to you. Like I talk to you like all the time, but like it's different. This is different. You guys know her out there in the podcast streets, the production streets, behind the scenes streets. Not in the street. She's not in the street. She's not about that.
Sorry. Got excited.
Calm it down. Simmer down a little bit. The one and only in the pod industry, Carla
I have an
Wilmaris.
Welcome
back
button, but I don't know which one it is.
Okay.
It's one of these.
Do it, girl.
Okay, clearly it's not that one. Let's try one more. Okay, that's definitely what happened.
That was great. That was great.
Okay, hold on. Oh, you know what? We're going to just go forget about it.
I love this.
I wasn't prepared for it. It might be this. No, wrong podcast. Damn.
This is DJ Carla, y'all.
We just gonna forget
Did you
about it,
prep the applause button in there?
There was one in there, but I think I might have removed it. I've been kind of like, fuck these niggas, so nobody's applauding. It's no applause.
No applause. It's womp womp. For all of them.
Womp womp all day.
No, the other one.
Damn it. Just forget it. Just forget it. I'm not a good DJ.
I'm gonna need that one so when I'm texting my exes, I could just play it. Womp womp.
You might just have to edit this whole part. Jesus, I am so sorry.
I love this.
On people's podcasts.
I love this. I love it. This is life for me. I needed this so much. It was the womp womp for me. All right. So you are back here. Well, first of all, let me not say you're back. You've been doing the damn thing. You've been just sitting, being present.
I'm trying.
Being present. I used to be I'm 30. Now it's Pivot with Purpose. Your one woman show. Well, I mean, is it one woman? Is Paola like official?
Well, I will tell you, right? It would not be going right now if it wasn't for Paola.
Shout out to Paola.
So her support being there, pushing me to be there, holding me accountable, and just making me, just easing my anxiety of being on the mic, and especially in front of the camera. It's huge. So it's definitely not a one woman show at all. It's Paola, it's Courtney, it's Kazan, there's a team behind me stopping them all with my annoying roadblocks. Like I get in my own way, but every single one of them is imperative to the fact that Pivot with Purpose is back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy you're back.
Thank you.
It has not been the same without your voice and just the journeys and the stories, to be honest with you. Because we all go through shit.
Like it was that long.
No.
We do.
Yeah.
But time flies, man. Except for now, it's going really slow. But time really flies. Like I did not think that I was gone for over a year.
You were gone.
I thought it was just a couple of months, and before I knew it, I opened my eyes, and I wouldn't say a year wasted. Of course, I was doing other things, but that's just how life is. Sometimes we think, oh, we'll get to it, and before you know it, you have now lost so much time that you could have done so much with, and you probably weren't in your right state of mind to think, am I doing what's best for me right now? You're just putting things off for things that don't matter, really.
What's crazy is during that time is when I actually got to meet you face to face. By accident.
Yes.
It was like total by accident. Like you
by accident on purpose.
By accident on purpose, right? You were up on the East Coast during this time, and we just happened to be same place, same networking event, same event. And I got to finally meet you face to face, which was like not much of a difference, to be honest, because I felt like I just known you since forever. But
I just didn't know you were 4 feet tall. But aside from that, everything was the same. I said, what the fuck is going on
11
here?
inches.
Bro,
and a half.
I think you lied. 4'8" tops.
No, I promise.
For sure.
I promise.
4'8". 4'8", I'll give you a half.
Wow. Okay. My next physical, I'm going to make sure I post my height.
I don't know. They lied. You bought them. Because I was like, I also was wearing heels, which I never wear. But no, it was divine timing. Honestly, I had no idea you were going to be there. It was last minute. I had talked to a client and she's like, hey, so I actually want to meet you in person. I'll be in New York. She's not from New York anymore. And she's like, I'll meet you there. So we can talk and meet face to face. And little did I know I was going to meet you face to face.
Yeah, it was with the Vecina Couture brand, which my platform knows I was featured as a Vecina of the Week. Yes, I was while I was on my cruise in February, which was pretty dope. But I think that's just like a little bit of the signature, right? Of something that I learned with you, embarking on the idea to launch Academy since day one. It's about finding your community and building that community. And even though I have a platform where we get comfortable being uncomfortable. No topic is ever off limits. And I could pretty much speak to anyone about things. This show has on its own taken its own journey, and it's been shifting into a specific, demographic, a specific group, a specific community, all on its own.
As it should. If it's not growing and evolving, then you're going to be boring.
Yeah. No, it's definitely done that. And it's been pretty amazing to have that guidance and to have those confirmations and affirmations that this is exactly what it's about. So it's been pretty dope to experience that. It was amazing to finally meet you face to face. But even then with all that journey, right? And the madness that was for you, like being off the mic for a year and then the pivoting, like literally, metaphorically, and all that good shit. Definitely want to dive right into what that looks like. But before we do, we always open up the show now with Raw Mess of the Week. And it's definitely something that, be going out there, all out in the world. And relevant to the conversation.
If I know anything. I'm scared. I'm like, I don't watch anything.
Well, I mean, it's spiritually here. This is a spiritual aspect of things, right? Gotcha. So I usually like to highlight shit that we see, that is so easy that for the whole world to see and be like, oh, I saw that on TV or whatever, those people, right? But it's stuff that really happens to humans, right? It's stuff that really happens to a lot of us, right? And I want to be able to bring this to the light because it's been all over the place, right? One of the Kardashians, Kourtney, she got married, right? To someone who's been a friend this whole time, to someone who has always been there, right? She had a baby with someone else. She's had 3 babies with someone else. Like, so much history there, right? But, here was this friend. Here was just someone there all along. Like, it's just in a matter of just, hey, I like you. And then like, we finally figured it out. And I wanted to highlight that as relevant as this is to God's plan, Jesus' plan, right? Like we're thinking it's something and then it's something else. And specifically to love, but also just these different types of relationships, right? We could want something so bad, whether it's our family, friends, or lovers. Like we want something so bad, but then how that shifts, right? And I wanted to be able to highlight that because some people are like, in her case, she just used them to, pop babies out. And, she probably always liked him. There's sometimes scrutiny to that. Like, how do you know that's not real? It's fake. I wanted your take on that because I do believe that what doesn't happen in 6 years could happen in 6 months. And I wanted to know what's your take on that.
So at the current moment and the climate of my life and the pivot that has taken in place, I am a huge skeptic.
Okay.
And my 3 years ago, I would tell you absolutely. And no matter what happens in my life, I always want to make sure that I lead with love, and I don't want to give up the hope of love. But at the same time, I see the world different, and it happens with anything, if you've been to war, if you've been to jail, if you're a doctor, and the trauma unit, if, all these different things just desensitize you or make you hyper aware of certain things. So you become a little bit of a skeptic when you see certain things. So I absolutely love Kourtney, and I do absolutely truly believe that what doesn't happen in 6 years can happen in 6 months. But where I am in my life right now, I tell everyone, and I'm probably the worst person to come to if you're happy as fuck and about to move really fast with someone. Take your time. Where is it going? Where are we going? Now, the Kardashians are a different story. Yeah. They don't live in the same world that we do.
Correct.
So these women can have, a baby every single year by 5 different men while they're married and get divorced and move from one mansion to the next and then get another private jet. It's a totally different life, and they will have 20 nannies, and it's not a problem. Nobody's truly fighting for child support unless, you know, you had a baby with China and then it's just so happened to do so. So that is, as a Kardashian or a Jenner, the issues that would happen to us wouldn't happen. Now, for us listening to this, you know, not necessarily for the celebrities listening to this podcast. If you're a celebrity listening, close your ears. If you're a regular schmegular motherfucker like me, I would tell you life happens, right? And I just want to urge everyone to just be happy. Also, live in the moment. I will say that if in the moment you're feeling like this is it and you feel it feels right and you know, dotted your I's, crossed your T's. Yeah, it's going to mess up the letters. Yeah. Give you a different alphabet. If you feel comfortable, go for it. Just go for it. But just always, I don't know, just be careful.
It's eyes and ears open. It's being aware. Don't turn that blind eye. I do want to add something to that, though, because you're right? We think of them as celebrities. They could do this shit, right? They could just fall in and out of love, right? But I do want to add a little twist to that, right? Because y'all have heard that saying, you know, money can't buy love, right? You think about all the money that they've had, right? All their abilities to do whatever, however, with whomever, you know, lose diamond earrings in the ocean and cry about it and whatnot, right? All that stupid shit, correct? And it's like all of that you had. And we actually saw in the case of Courtney how she totally at one point had to disconnect from the whole filming shit because deep down she was unhappy. And so that's where I really like to see and I would really like to highlight that, yes, you're right, absolutely, they could choose to do as they please, however they want, and not give a flying fuck of who says what to them. Totally true. But we could see through that too. We can see what misery does as well.
I think when I meant it was the hardships. Now I can tell you also from experience, I'm talking about those regular schmegular hardships that we have. Now, what I will say is you're absolutely right. There's no amounts of money or security that can shield you from emotional pain and from mental instability. And have I been there recently? Yes. I have struggled with the fact that definitely don't even touch a Kardashian's toenail. But financially, I'm well. You know, the first time in my life, I'm not needing. I have a surplus of what I need and what I want. I have access to who I want, when I want, where I want, how I want it. And I have been in the darkest place I've ever been in my life. Yeah. Even when I was 18 having a baby, when I was eating spaghetti and making one piece of chicken breast last me for a whole week.
Amen.
Even during then, right now, these past 3 months have been the heaviest for me mentally. And that is because it's a mind fuck. It's a mind fuck because we think that because we have money, it'll be okay. No. So when I came back to saying, you know, we are not the Kardashians, it's like we have some serious problems. Like just after 6 months wanting to marry somebody, blah, blah, you're taking on a lot of shit from someone else that it's unnecessary, on top of the fact that mentally and emotionally, you're going to be fucked up too.
That's true. That's true. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, listen, I believe in love. I believe in luck too, but I would have to agree with it. Yes, as much as I do think what happened in 6 months, that didn't happen in 6 years, cool. But I'm gonna need to make sure that your glasses are clean. Y'all seeing everything. Y'all checking everything. Like you also don't got them skeletons in your fucking closet. And you're not blindsiding nobody either, because if shit is gonna work out, it needs to work out the right way. I that's one thing for sure, because listen, some of us don't even get to know the real person in 6 years. You think 6 months is going to do the deed? Right. So I think it's definitely, there's some form of a balance there for sure. But I definitely wanted to be a little messy with that one, because it's definitely been something that I've seen in a lot of discussion, you know, in the comments. And, you know, regular degulars like myself and you have friends and shit. We talk. And I was like,
yeah, we talk. And I'm not going to lie. I think she looks beautiful. Yeah. I think that, you know, I've never once been like, oh my God, I'm just like, well, this is a little fast, but hey, enjoy it. Enjoy it. I'm coming to a space finally with a lot of money. You know, remember, I don't like talking about therapy recently, like in the past couple of weeks, because it reminds me how much money I'm paying. But I rather pay it there than like in other ways.
Heard you.
But I forgot what I was saying. I told you when I think about how much I fucking pay in therapy.
All you saw was the numbers.
It just combobulates me. I don't know. I'm just looking just at numbers and the
was
red
like a flash,
just going flying
like
away.
the invoices.
You know the little emoji with the money with the wings? That's literally what I can picture right now. The money and just.
Listen, therapy is not. And okay, so I have a confession, right? As much as sometimes being a healthcare worker like can really be testy. One thing's for sure, some of us get really good benefits with not having to pay into your therapy. And so this is why I still stay in that lane. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to be honest. Like,
no, it's real.
Being in healthcare gives you certain benefits. And I've reaped those benefits when it comes to therapy. Like, you got no idea. Because it's expensive as shit. Expensive.
No, it is expensive. Actually, I have, I'm lucky enough to have found other avenues to add to my other therapists. It's much more, but between virtual and in person, we killing this thing.
Yeah,
we killing it. We doing the damn thing, and I haven't had to go out there and prostitute just yet. So we're good.
I heard you, because that's always the backup plan.
That's there just in case.
Hunts Point's right
His
there.
ass is still here, and it's still a virgin.
I'm actually closer now to Hunts Point. It's like that's like the street. Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so we're gonna go into the next segment as far as it gets, because we open this up, with Jesus, and God's plan and whatnot, and then what happens when Jesus is like, "Nah, we throwing your whole plan away." I want to dive into that right now. I want to put a disclaimer here. If y'all thought that Carla Wilmaris is going to come up in here and give you all the tea, no, that's not what's going to happen. Because if you want to hear any type of tea that is being served with any pivots, you're going to have to go tune into Pivot with Purpose. That's what you're going to have to do, okay? That's not what this is about. But what this is about, though, is what this journey has looked like for you. And I know you talked about this, and congratulations to you and kudos to you for being so open about it when it was your moment to be ready to get back on the mic and be so transparent, so vulnerable with all this shit, right? Because, Carla has a podcast. I had to. I had to. I had to. It's the right thing to do. There is a saying, God won't give you what you can't handle. I used to believe in that and be thinking that, yeah, I'm a strong ass bitch. And then one day I was like, nah, fuck. Who spoke to God? And God said, go put that on a meme and hashtag that shit and post it all over. I don't know if I agree with that.
I will tell you, there's a sense of, I feel like, yeah, it's true. But another time when we sometimes say, oh my goodness, he's just giving me all this because I can handle it. No, maybe it's because you haven't been listening and he's been nudging you and whispering to you and talking to you and telling you, hey, it's about time for you to make this move. And I haven't made the move. And God is like, all right, cool. Well, let me put something in front of you and put you in a situation where I'm going to knock you to your feet, knock you to your knees, put you on the ground, laid out, where you have the only choice you have now is to call on to me, to lean on to me and have no other option. So yes, he won't give you more than what you can handle, but he's going to push you to that breaking point of you saying, all right, I'm sorry, I haven't been listening, or you've been like with one foot in, one foot out. And you have to finally say, hey, my arms are up. I'm not going anywhere. I'm doing whatever you tell me, and I'm listening. I'm finally going to listen.
We're back. And good old fashioned, of course, with my podcast coach, technical difficulties. What better moment than now? But this is why we record with backup tracks. My God. I hope she's proud of me. All right. So jumping right into where we left off, there's also that part of the realization of hitting 35. And you fine. Let me just put that out there. Okay. And the woman that you are today, you're looking back at, what once was, shit, I'm 30. And here you are, like smack in the middle of it all. Right. And, God's plans, pivoting. Pivot. Just,
God has a sense of humor.
Yeah, it's a whole pivot table, girl. It's a whole pivot table.
The word was meant for me.
Where you are today, honestly, and I know we opened it up a little bit, and I know you already shared a little bit, like, this is like your darkest moment, right? Mm-hmm. But looking at it from the outside in, because I know you're in it, you're feeling it, you're living it, right? You're going through all of this shit day in and day out. But
Right.
if you were to take a moment to look at it from the outside in, are you taking for granted who you are today in these last 5 years from when you started this podcast journey and telling your story?
Not at all.
Okay.
All of this had to happen for me to be where I am. I wouldn't be here with you, for sure. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have the connections that I have. I wouldn't have the growth that I've had, in my character and my mental health and my patience. Like I just wouldn't have the growth that I've had in my personal life if I didn't go through what I went what I went through. So I have to appreciate, and I've actually asked this question to me recently. I said, if I had to do all of this all over again, knowing what I know today, would I do it? And I said no for a very long time. And in the last couple of weeks, I finally said yes. I said, yes, I would go through it all over again, because when I was happy, I was happy.
Right.
I have spent some really dark months, but I needed those dark months. Those days that felt like they were meaningless turned out to be such wonderful days that God was working. I just couldn't see it. Those were worthy days. I saw that in a sermon that I went to. He was saying, turning those meaningless days to, worthy days, just turn the M around into a W, you first, or worthless to, sorry, Pastor, I messed it up. But whatever, the days that seemed like they weren't shit, now they are the shit. That is Carla's words.
It's the sorry pastor.
And God. But the pastor had it really good, but I fucked it up. But it just brought me in during the realization that, I felt like those days were terrible days and dark days, but I needed those days for me to be able to appreciate what I'm going through now and have grown to where I am today. So yeah, that's a lot of shifting. I could have been like, sometimes I knock on the door and I'm like, hey, Jesus, hey, God, it's me. What's up? Could you lighten up the load a little bit? Because this is heavy. Today it's heavy. But when today it's heavy, what I do is I say, today I'm not doing anything. And that's just going to have to be okay. I'll resume again tomorrow.
Absolutely. What does this look like for you now after a year? This year, that year that you've been off the mic, that year, I want to say you were hibernating. Can we call it a hibernation?
I think I was just going through I was going through a serious shift.
Okay.
Even a year ago, who I am today, there were a lot of moving pieces. Those little animations where it's like a bunch of puzzle pieces moving on their own and kind of like shifting around the screen. That's what was happening with me during this past year. Things were shifting, things were moving, pivots were being made, but it was a lot of my character, my mental health, my just what my beliefs, my values, all of it was tested and shifted and moved around to create this puzzle piece that's here now, this masterpiece that I call me. And now that's what's being worked on, but just on my own. But I had to go through that. If not, I wouldn't be here.
So where do you see yourself now celebrating in your darkest moments, your greatness and your success? Because remember
where do I see celebrating the greatness?
Yeah. Remember what we highlighted, things are coming your way, even in the darkest moments. Things are pouring in. God said there's a different plan, right? There's a different plan here, but he's still pouring in. There's blessings still coming.
So the blessings are coming. And like I told you off the mic, these blessings are coming because I'm doing the hardest work that God has told me that I have to do, which none of us ever want to do, including myself. In 35 years, I've never done this part of my obedience to God, and that is self-control. That is self-control and patience. Boy, is that the hardest thing to do. I can go to church and I can show up every Sunday.
Monday. Any
Monday,
day, y'all.
Sir.
Church is open
God,
at all times.
I'm just letting you know that I really love you on Sundays and Mondays. My special days. No, but seriously, Sunday mornings, getting there at 9:00. I can put my arms up with worship. I can journal all day long. I can read my, Women Involved. I can listen to another podcast. I can go on the mic and, give a couple of, Bible passages, and I can go on live and I can preach to other people. But there's one thing that God is asking of me. And he said, be patient and be obedient. And that right there is hard. And these 3 months have felt so hard because I've had to be patient, because I've had to be obedient, and because I have not given in to what my flesh wants to do. My flesh and the devil are pulling me. They're screaming at me. They're telling me that I need to react. My human instinct, it's telling me to react, to act, to lash out, to let those emotions just go free, those negative emotions. But my obedience has allowed me for me to truly see that God is like, see, here you go. Another thing. Here's another client. And here's some more money. And here's more clarity. And here's more emotional stability. And here is, your children are healthy. And here is you going to the doctor and them telling you, you're all right.
Yeah.
Here is more therapy for you. And here is more growth. So he keeps handing me these things day in and day out, as every single day that I take, I am obedient to him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that you said that, because I want to bring it back full circle to where I said Carla has a podcast, right? Do you want to shine light on which episode the listeners here should go and listen to on Pivot with Purpose, so that they understand why my focus here is on this journey? Because
I believe it was episode 143.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to link it in the show notes, ladies and gentlemen. You could definitely go to the show notes. I want you guys to go listen to that, because it's a true testimony to Carla's journey, Carla's love, Carla's mindset, and why I wanted to shine more light on when things pivot, right? When it's a whole y'all, okay, I'm going to keep it all the way raw. Because remember I said this could be in different relationships, right? I broke up of a relationship of 6 years with a specific company, let's call it that. And you think of, the grass is greener on the other side, right? And then, here you go, you move on, and then there's other shit that could test you, right? In a much shorter amount of time, right? Because I'm almost 6 years, and this is, it's a little shorter, right? And I say that to say, the same way that things could happen, in 6 months that didn't happen in 6 years, is the same way the shit you could learn in this amount of time that you did not learn in this amount of time. It's the same thing. It's an aha moment. It's that realization, right? It's that moment that you thought, this is definitely better. And then it's like, whoosh, no. Hold on a second. Rude awakening. It's better because you're probably going to learn something better here.
It's a different lesson. So it's a different lesson. For you, myself, I come from a 6-year relationship previous to this. Yeah. Why didn't I learn this lesson then? There are plenty of negative things, maybe similar, but I wasn't ready for that lesson then.
Part. There we go.
So that next lesson can happen for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years for me. It can be longer. It doesn't matter, but you have to be ready and in place for that lesson that's going to come from there. Every relationship, again, whether it's like you're saying, a romantic relationship, a friendship,
business,
siblings, parents, business, whatever it may look like, you have to be ready. You're going to get something out of each one of them, a lesson out of each and every single one of them. They'll all be powerful and useful for the future.
Absolutely.
If you pay attention.
I have one more question for you. Is there any promises that you've made to yourself?
No, I am not one to keep promises like that. Like,
not even with you.
Nah, I'll be breaking them because we change, and at this point I'm realizing I change so often.
Oh,
I change often, and that's okay. Things move, things shift. The one thing that's one constant is the fact that, my character, and that I lead with love, and that my integrity, and that I know that I'll never try to step on anybody's toes to get to where I'm going. So, and as long as I know that I'm living in that righteous way, I will be shifting. I will be pivoting. So I don't want to say, hey, in 5 years, I'm going to do this for the next 5 years, because I don't want to put myself in a box. The same way that some really shitty things were able to happen to me in 7 months, my last 7 months in my last relationship, is the same way that I can enter into a room for 2 days. And the opportunities that could have come out from those 2 days now, are exponential.
Yeah.
So I don't want to tell myself, I probably would have told myself I won't be in the position that I'm in today until maybe 2024. And I'm doing it in the beginning of 2022. So I'm not anywhere where I need to be, but I'm not going to box myself to in the next 2 years. No, that shit can happen in the next 2 months.
Absolutely.
But I do promise myself to love myself, to love me first above anyone. And it includes those 2 little kids sitting in the other room.
Heard you. I'm a firm believer of that. Absolutely. Before we go into the double or nothing, one more thing. You said something about your character, because these days Jesus has a different plan for me, and it's about my character too. And I definitely shared it with you off the mic, and I probably will in the future episodes, depending on how, Jesus takes my plan or his plan or whatever.
His plan.
I'll be
he is going to stomp on your plans.
Yeah. I'll be able to release a little bit more of what this part of my journey has been, right? But when it comes to character, this is definitely something that I stand really strong by. I feel like it's like your personal brand. It's that name that was given to me at birth, and I've had to uphold that name to who the fuck I am, right? When it comes to your character, and it comes to what this past experience has been for you in this last relationship, right? I want to be transparent on this. Which hurt the most for you? Was it the attack on your character or your love?
So here, I quickly Googled character because I wanted to know the actual definition of it. When we talk about character, we're talking about the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. Character is not the same as emotional intelligence. So I think that at times we talk about, oh, that's somebody's character. That's somebody's character. That could be your character. But if you're emotionally unintelligent, although you might be a good person at heart, you will take that emotional unintelligence and do some really fucked up things that make you a really bad person. Does that mean that you're a complete, total shitty person? No, but that means you're making really shitty decisions because you're not there. So we cannot completely lean on this character situation. So in my situation, what hurt the most? I would, honestly, the attack on my character hurt and it stung a little, but because I am emotionally intelligent and because I know who I am, that's not what hurt the most. What hurt me was that my ego was hurt. My trust I was betrayed. My trust was broken. I was literally dragged to nothing by a person that I loved so much that I never expected this from, and it came from the back door. So my character, eventually I knew that people would see who I am. If I was emotionally intelligent, obedient, patient, my character would shine through. And others would know, no matter how much dirt or shit was literally rubbed all over it. So I think here we need to focus on their character and your emotional intelligence. And for me, I think what mostly hurt was that the personal love, the betrayal.
Yeah, the betrayal. Thank you for that, Pastor Carla, at this point, because guys, that was a whole word and so applicable to so many things, but it's so true. It's so true. There's so many levels to that, layers. And I think it takes a lot of work to be done to be that much aware of being emotional intelligent, emotionally unintelligent, to know the difference of what character really means, which is why I shine light on it, because a lot of people don't understand what that really encompasses. So thank you for that. I want to go into the double or nothing. We're going to dig a little deeper. This is not a therapy session, y'all.
Deeper than this? Yeah, don't take no therapy advice from me. I am quite fucked up and going to lots of therapy, so you don't go hate your own therapist and then be like, this bitch on this podcast said, and then let them break it down to your life.
She said this.
Disclaimer.
Do
we need a disclaimer?
Speaking of disclaimers, I had spoken of, in one of my Tuesday mini-so series, facing it and then fixing it, right? And I stand by that because it takes a lot of courage to be able to face a lot of the shit that we go through ourselves, because I do believe sometimes we choose to not see it. We choose to not even believe it. We choose to just turn the other way, right? And then once we do face it, it's like the work that it takes to fixing it. And this topic at hand does not get old. As someone in healthcare, as someone who still witnesses time and time again, people stand there and be like, why the fuck am I going to pay somebody else to tell me what to do when it comes to therapy? I definitely want to...
that means you need therapy.
I want to shine light on the concept of investing in yourself and what that looks like, right? Because for some people, it's so superficial and it looks like brands, right? Like that hot ass belt and them sneakers and all that good shit, right? And that's cool. That's cool, right? That's fantastic.
Is it?
I mean, for some people, it is. I mean, not for me. Listen, I need some comfy shoes. I be working in heels all day long in the office. I need some comfortable shoes. So I don't be focusing on shit like that.
Fluffies and being at home in sweatpants all day.
In robes. That I could vibe with. But I do want to still address a lot of this scrutiny about people who maybe it is their ego talking. Maybe it is their pride. The whole, I'm not going to pay somebody else to tell me what to do. This whole misconception that therapists sit there and tell you what to do.
Let's tell you shit.
Thank you.
You paying for you to talk.
Let's shine a little light on that. You as someone who has had in-depth work with yourself, investing in yourself, having therapy. I've definitely done it too. There's still people out there, no matter how many months of May in the world that we celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month. There's still people.
You celebrate. That should be 365 days a year.
Amen. Thank you. But there's still people who think like you're paying someone to tell you what to do. This misconception. Let's address this. In all your time with therapy, who the fuck has ever told you, this is what you do, Carla, this is the solution?
I've never actually been told that ever. Not once. And I've been going for almost 5 years now. So not once has a therapist told me. And if you are listening to this at the moment and thinking just like that, if that's your train of thought, just know it's coming and is leading from a place of fear. Is coming from a place of unknown. The fear of the unknown is coming from a place of knowing that there is something on the other side that you have to work on and you don't want to right now, but you are aware of that. So right now you're talking and you're like rolling your eyes, but in the back of your mind, you're like, bitch, I know it's right. So you might turn this off, but I'm telling you, you know, it's coming from a place of fear, but I'm here to tell you that you're right. The second that you start, it is going to get harder. It is going to suck. You're going to unpack some things that you're going to be like, what the hell? And not once will this therapist have told you what to do. They're literally going to sit there and ask you the most simple, open-ended question. And all of a sudden, you have diarrhea of the mouth. You start having, memories and suppressed thoughts that are going to come back that you didn't expect for them to come back because you've never sat in a place with your phone off, talking to someone that you're paying for the privacy of not being judged and nothing ever getting out. So now these emotions and these feelings and these thoughts are resurfacing and now you're fucked up. Now you're anxious. Now you're depressed. Now you're constantly crying because now you're remembering something that you intentionally suppressed to never think of again. But you have no idea that those suppressed feelings are coming out in different ways, whether that be through anger, whether that be through promiscuity, whether that is through violence, whatever that may look like that's not healthy. You're like, oh, I'm good. And you're alcoholism, drugs, you're doing something. So get started because just like you say, it's so much better on the other side. You just have to walk through the fire and you're going to end up in paradise. You just go through it, and you never have to deal with these feelings of fear again. You'll be so comfortable, but yes, it's going to suck. Absolutely going to suck. But it's amazing.
That encompasses the entire concept of the facing the facts, facing it in order to fix it. I completely agree with you. I wanted to tie this into the piece of relationships. Not so much a lover's relationship for me, but actually with my siblings. And they know this because I told them to their face. But it's no secret. We just had like a breakthrough moment recently. We have been at odds. Because we don't agree on certain things. But it's the way we've been communicating that have been really, really, really intense. Sometimes more so one-sided than the other. And so I've definitely, through the work of therapy, I've learned how to create certain boundaries, to really be able to face a certain reality that I love these people. These are my siblings. I adore them. I would do anything for them. But I can't get tired of telling them, like, y'all may need to tap into your own therapies. Y'all may need to tap into your own griefs, your own gripes, your own issues, your own angers. Because when we argue over something that seems this big, it turns into this big and certain shit comes up. And I'm just like, where the fuck did this shit come from? Like, where is this coming from? And so for me, right, as a sibling who does adore her siblings, right, who wants to sustain my sibling relationship with them, right, I've definitely brought up the topic time and time again. You need to learn how to create those boundaries. You need to learn how to do that healing. Like I've said it for year after year after year. You need therapy. You can't sit there and say, I'm fine. That should never affected me. No, sir. It's 15 years later and I still hear you talking this way.
So I think you telling someone that they need therapy isn't going to work.
It's not working. It's not. So what I've done now, it's kind of like, I'm tired of saying it. I've given you the best advice. I've told you it works for me. I've said it works for me. It helps me. So at this point, I've definitely had to resort to creating a little bit of distance because it's affecting me as opposed to working for me or working with me. And I've had to set stronger boundaries. And I think doing that piece, because of the work I've done, has helped a little bit send a different message across. I do think so.
Have you read the book Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and John Townsend?
I have not, but I did hear about it. I heard its recommendation.
Okay. It was the very first book that I started reading when I got back home. And I will tell you that every single issue that arises in our life right now, it's because of a lack of boundaries. And these boundaries are with everyone. And this book is going to blow your mind. So get the book. You're going to hear it's stories that he's telling. So he's going to tell you someone else's story, right? And from there, he'll explain what the boundaries were and then why, and then how they became to be a thing, and then how to fix it, So it's going to tell you how to set boundaries for yourself. And when I tell you I have been freed because of boundaries, when I tell you I will not answer certain people's calls until after 12. Sometimes I won't answer the phone call for days. Is it an emergency? It's not. And that's fine. And sometimes I don't think you understand the anxiety that I would get from not answering somebody's phone call, from not texting right away, for not being always available.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to put those boundaries in place, and then it's like, where did those boundaries come from? And it makes you dig deeper. Oh, childhood. I was doing A, B, and C to this person. And it just helps you understand it and not feel crazy. But this book, Boundaries, when I tell you, you have to read it. There's another one by Dr. It's a Black woman. But this one specifically right here, and this one is faith-based as well. So if you
I'm still on that
are
journey.
a Christian,
Yeah.
It literally gives you so many Bible verses as you're going. It's not preaching to you, but it's relating life, because sometimes we're like, oh, we don't want to set these boundaries because it's not of God. And he's like, no, let me show you how it is of God, and how this other person's trying to push and go past those boundaries is not of God. How to put yourself first. So definitely do boundaries, and boundaries will definitely help you with that.
As a point of reference, I might just get it for people for an early Christmas gift. I don't know, maybe.
It's amazing.
We'll see.
You should, if they read.
One out of the two might throw it back at me. I don't know, but
it also has a workbook on Amazon.
No, but I do believe strongly, and it's not just as someone who's invested in it. I, knock on wood, I have not paid a single dime into therapy because of certain benefits I've been very lucky to have. Very fortunate, right? So I stand by it from the moment that I started that journey. And so I know how much has helped me, heal through a lot of shit. And how, to the point of how we started this conversation, shit is always going to happen in life. And ever so often I think I'm good, I'm chilling, everything is fine. And then boom, I find myself right back in that scene. And suddenly I'm tapping into another part of life.
I think the evolution of you and the working on yourself and therapy and that work never stops. It's forever going. You don't stop working on yourself, because every day you wake up a different person with different things that you've learned the day before. It's a new you. So you have to allow yourself to grow, but also do so in a very healthy way, because we are living in some really weird times. It's very weird times. We have anxiety from things that we never thought we would, like going to a grocery store, dropping our kids off. We don't feel safe. I'm only 35, and I used to play outside, until the sun went down, and maybe a little bit after if I wanted a quick ass whooping, So if I was pushing the boundaries that my parents put together, put in place. But yeah, we're living in some really crazy times. So why would you think that if you are sick in any capacity, you have a cold, you have COVID, y'all niggas run to the hospital when you have COVID? And you be so scared because you got a little and a little fever. But when you're acting up and angry and fighting and being a serial cheater and lying and not being able to control yourself, you don't run to a psychiatrist? You don't run to a therapist? You should be running over there just as fast as you are when you have a little cough and a little fever and oh my God, the world is ending because you're so sick. You are sick. My nigga, you are sick. Go to the therapist. Go to the mental health hospital and get yourself together. And it's much cheaper.
I could not agree with you more. I think people forget that this part is connected to the rest of our body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if this is not functioning, literally, medically, clinically, you're brain dead. That's it.
And your entire body shuts down too.
Absolutely. Like, come on now. Even a kindergartner can figure that out. I'm just saying. I want to go into the last segment of the show, and this is the overdose. And again, you guys, it's gonna be in the show notes. Please, I need you guys to go listen to the story behind why I wanted to shine light on this shit, because even from episode 143 with your comeback to where you are now, and you guys will see the date on that, like you're a totally different woman.
Oh
you're
yeah, if you binge listen those, it's
yeah.
And it's been a journey, but it's my journey, and I'm taking you guys along with my journey for my own therapeutic healing. Yeah.
The last time you were on the show, you was pregnant?
I don't know. I feel like I was pregnant for 3 years straight.
Wow. Okay. Well, she's here today with 2 kids.
And I'm not pregnant.
And she's not pregnant.
Let alone I haven't seen a dick. So don't worry.
I'm just saying for you, girl.
TMI. Beep it out. Where's the beeping thing? Boom.
We're gonna go into the overdose. This is the last segment. This is definitely still my favorite segment of the show, because this is where we either share something that we're completely over it or something we are overjoyed with. And so you could go on a regular rant if you want and go the fuck off, or you could just give us some present moment and some peace on anything that's resonating with you in your mind and in your heart at this moment.
It's been laying heavy on me. I could be messy, but I don't want to. It's been laying heavy on my mind to take your time. I made a phone call on Friday night to someone to apologize. It had been in my heart to do so for almost a year now, to call and apologize to them. And I didn't do it when I wanted to do it 3 months ago. And I waited because I needed to feel, where is this feeling coming from where I want to say I'm sorry? Where is this where I want to acknowledge you? What I want to tell you, you weren't wrong. Or I see you. More like I want you to feel seen. But I didn't do it. And this again goes to patience and obedience, which is just, it's what's on me right now, and will I probably keep speaking like I do whenever I'm feeling something. As long as it's there and in my heart and God is telling me, hey, I need to let it out, I'm going to let it out. And it's for us to be patient, really take your time and execute when God tells you it's time to execute, not when you feel like executing.
Absolutely. I want to add to that, actually, because there was something that was not weighing heavy, but definitely a reaffirmation to something I've shared on this platform before. It definitely had to do with, the people we offend in life, when we choose to offend someone or when we don't even realize who we're offending. This is not factual that is definitely the person you're going to need from in the future. But my experience tells me that the people who I have encountered in life that I have offended, I've ended up needing them, or they've been the first ones to come and rescue me. And I shared this on the Forgiven podcast, the story with my father, when I was really fucked up to him and I said some really foul shit to him. And this was when I thought I was a grown-ass woman and moved the fuck out at 19, right? And, when the shit hit the fan and I became a single mother, that's the first person who said, nah, I gotta rescue her. Like, that's my daughter. That's my girl. Like, I gotta be there for her. And that happened to me when I was 21. I am 36 years old and going through something today and still having the ability and the luck and the blessing to turn to my dad and share that with him, and still knowing that I was still pretty shitty and fucked up at one point in life with him, and he's still there to rescue me. It's like, fuck, I'm lucky as shit. And so I say that to say, sometimes it is about opening up your eyes to just realizing certain things. And I'm not saying we just forgive just to forgive. I don't believe family just gets a pass. That's not what I believe.
Absolutely not.
No, absolutely
not. Those are the last ones to get a pass.
But but I do feel, and I do believe, because my experience tells me so, that there are just those moments where it's like, I could be apologetic about the offensive part of me, the part that offended you and hurt you, because it turns out you've been the person that has been there for me. Right. And so I wanted to shine light on that, how that looks like when it is taking your time, because I'm a stubborn ass bitch and I don't always do that right away. So I'm just going to say that.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too.
I'm so stubborn. It's just like, I do nothing wrong. I'm Scorpio. I'm always right. But it's just like how I was raised. It's his fault. It's my father's fault. But it's totally his fault. But, you know, it ties in with the whole taking your time. You know, there's always going to be that moment where you are going to be able to look to that person and be able to have that conversation. I was able to finally sit there when I had a little moment with my dad recently, and I shared something with him, and he said, well, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. We're here to support you. And I said, thank you. And then I was able to finally say something and get something off my chest. And I said, you know, Dad, I owe you this X, Y, and Z still. It was from this time. Don't think I forgot. It's been heavy on me on my chest, and I'm going to nip that in the bud, and I'm going to give you back that X, Y, and Z. And he just looked at me like, where the fuck you come out with this? Like, how the fuck did you remember this?
Right.
But I have it there. And I think it was just taking me my time to be able to face that part, to fix something that I felt was still harboring over me, to be able to apologize for that it's taken me this long, and to be able to say, I am going to fix it. This is part of my goal. This is part of my healing. This is part of me saying,
healing.
Aquí está, like, and for lack of saying it in English, checks and balances. Aquí está mi cuenta, you know, cleared up with my dad.
Right.
You know, it's that piece of it. So
yeah, and sometimes it might not be a relationship that's that serious, but in order for you to be able to do that and take an accountability for what you could have done, that was hard for me, because this person that I had to apologize, I had to hold myself accountable for, and I never treated them any type of way, this specific person. I didn't do anything for her to ever say you were a bad person to me. It was just me knowing that that I might have inadvertently and not maybe not even on purpose hurt her. I wanted to acknowledge and say, you probably don't even know that I feel this way, but I want to still tell you I see you and you're seen.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Kudos.
I would have never done that shit 3 years ago. Just want to let you know. Just want to let y'all know that 3 years ago without therapy, I would have been like, fuck that bitch. Just saying.
But I told you before we started recording, 5 years ago, Daisy.
Right.
It's all a different Daisy, but we're here. We made it, y'all.
We don't have to worry about what could have been, because we're here.
We're here. I am a far better woman today.
I am so sorry if you can hear the dog. I feel like somebody's breaking in the house, but then I also don't think so.
Okay. No, you're fine. We're going to pray really quick that you're fine.
We're going to pray.
Do you want to share with my audience? Pivot with Purpose is on all platforms for podcasting, but also let's shine a little bit of light of what's open for enrollment before we go and end the show.
Yes. So, actually, for listeners of your show specifically, if you are looking to start a podcast, I did reopen the same course, just with some updates that Daisy took herself to launch her podcast. It is, you would go to carlawilmaris.com/podcast. If you wanted to enroll on it, it's a 5-week course up until June 5th. Okay. If you enroll, you will be part of the intensive team, which I will break up into small groups and speak to them, every single week. But that is the where you were in. And I am so sorry. Is it really loud?
Don't worry about it. Life happens. It's all right.
I'm just trying to figure out where Ayana is.
That's Luna, y'all. It's okay. We're almost
It's there. Luna ran away for a day and a half, and I was hoping she wasn't here. And another time is on here, and I'll tell you why. So they can use the code podcast. I believe you get $100 off, but you also have a link. So put your link, and there's specifically for people that come from this show have to use that link and use the code podcast in order to get money off. Mm-hmm. So use that, and I will be able to help you launch your own. And then, Carla Wilmaris and Pivot with Purpose.
Amazing. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Everything will be on the show notes, y'all. Please go support my favorite coach of all time, Carla Wilmaris. Everything's going to be in the show notes for sure. And I will link everything. I promise I will. And always a pleasure to have you on here. And hopefully someday I will be able to record with you like face to face and cut the shit out.
Of course. Well, I'll be in New York from the 13th to the 16th.
Oh my God, my heart. Let me go put in my PTO. I'll let you guys know if that's really like a thing. For now, let me go to my PTO. As always, guys, this has been another week and another episode on Overdose of Raw Talk Podcast. I am your host, Misty, and you guys will tune in next week. Bye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and we are live on your favorite podcast streaming platform. Make sure to tell a friend to subscribe, rate, and review. Talk to you later. Bye.